Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of the Creator Toolbox. This is all about the nuts and bolts behind the creator business. I'm Colin Gray from thepodcasthost.com, joined by Jacob Anderson as always. How are you getting on, Jacob?
Pretty good. Good week so far.
Good. And as always, we've got an excellent guest on today. Somebody I've known for a fair few years now, eh? How are you getting on, Gavin Bell? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. I'm honoured to be here.
What we're going to start with today, we'll start with the tools, jump straight into the tools, I think. And last time, I think we gave Jacob first go. So I think this time around, we'll be polite and let our guest go first. So Gavin, jump straight into your Creator Tools for this time around.
Yep. I know I was asked to have two. I've actually got three. So we can
nice.
cover two or we can cover three. Depends where you want to go. So
go for it. Well, give us one to start with, and
we'll give you one to start with. So we've been doing a lot of work recently for our internal content at Yatter, and so I've been looking at a lot of different tools how we can make it a better process. And the number one tool that I will bring up is Asana. So we use Asana for almost all of our project work in the business, but more recently we've developed a content board within there or project, and it allows us, like, every idea that we have gets added to an ideas board, and then when we film it, it gets added to a filmed board, and then when it goes to the editor, it goes to the editor board, and we can set dates and things and assign people that task, who's uploading it, who's editing it, and that has really helped us just streamline that creative process. And you can take it further by, adding all your different guidelines on, for the editor, what sizes that you want, that sort of thing. So Asana's been massive for us. It's been great.
Yeah. We use Asana as well. We jumped over to it, 2 years ago now, Jacob, was it? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been in it a little while now, and it's been it's been really good, actually. It's changed a lot of our process. Are you using much of the automations, Gavin?
No, we're not.
Not
so
yet. No.
If you have any tips, I'm all ears.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. We could talk even more afterwards. But yeah, there's Jenny on our team has done so much work to actually bring in a whole lot of automation with it. I think the epitome of it is our content management board, actually. Matthew, Gav, content manager extraordinaire on our team, manages basically everything that gets written for our for the podcast host, and he manages it all in there with half a dozen writers or something. So anytime somebody submits a pitch, then he goes in, it sends him a notification at that time, he'll do something with it, but as soon as there's like a little tick in one of those boxes, like to approve that pitch, it creates tasks for 2 or 3 other people, including like create a graphic, create do some promo around it, create social media posts, that kind of stuff. So there's loads of automations in there that you can do, so that when you tick something off, you can say, when this is done, create these 6 other things and assign them to these 3 people and set them for this day in the future. So
nice.
It's been really cool doing that, actually, because it means that it's all kind of such a slick process.
I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds nice.
Yeah, but it's there's 2 tiers as well. We did lose a couple of them because we were cheap and went down from the expensive tier down to the standard tier at one point.
I think the standard still gives
we've got a new employee starting today, and we're now having to go from the 10-seat plan to the 15-seat plan, and that is a painful jump from a billing perspective.
I know, much prefer it when it's per person, so it's a slower ramp up, but this one's per 5. It's pretty nasty. All right, Jacob, do you want to go on with yours then?
Yeah, mine isn't available, so I really want to play with it. What? Lots of other people do, but it's just something very interesting to look at. I don't know if you guys have seen any clips of this. Sora, OpenAI's new video model. So, do you remember, I don't know, like a year ago or something like that, and some of the attempts at AI-generated video, it just looks a little bit like a sort of nightmare. It's actually just really creepy. But this stuff is coming out from Sora. There was one particular clip which stood out, and it was a pirate ship battle in a teacup. And the way that it sort of accounted for the size of the mug and the way that the water was moving, it's actually all like it's sort of simulating physics as you go. And I think that whenever this becomes public, and if it's actually as good as their probably very selective clips like to show us, I think that that's gonna give people so much more scope to create video, where at the moment they might need to pay thousands of dollars to get something kind of not face to camera, but like something animated or something filmed or something like that. I think that's going to be huge for creators. I think there's lots and lots of fear about what damage AI is going to do, but I think some things like this, for people that have the right ideas, for people that are operating on lower budgets, they're going to be able to describe what they want. They're going to be able to get it. I think it's really, really exciting. So I'm dying to get my hands on it. So it's a bit of a cop-out tool for me because it doesn't actually exist yet, but I just wanted to bring it up because it's very, very cool.
Do we know when it's going to be out?
I don't think they've actually said. No. Going off of past releases, though, it'll probably be a lot quicker than we think. They're not known for showing stuff and then not letting you use it for a very, very long time. So I imagine it'll be next 3 months. That's my personal prediction.
Yeah. Have you had any ideas yet, Gav, how you might use this?
Yeah, like it's just one of those. It's like a Pandora's box of just like opportunity. I think there's, you think if you're sitting one day and you're going, I need to create a piece of content to put on social. It's like, well, I need to get somebody to film it. I need a script. I need X, Y, Z. I need all these things and need it then edited. It's like quite a high barrier to entry if you've not got that sort of like system in place. Whereas now I think like you can just go on to ChatGPT or Sora. I don't know whether it's going to be integrated and just say, I need a video of X, Y, Z. And I presume within minutes you'll have something that's of decent quality. So I'm really excited about that. And I think the opportunities are going to be endless. I mean, from an advertising perspective, it's like, so we can split test hundreds of different things now at scale and see what works.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so cool. I love the fact that it had, the example that stood out to me was that the fly through of the Gold Rush village. So it was less about even like, less about creating something that I can put out there into the world and more about actually being able to have a look at something that I wouldn't be able to see otherwise. Creating something that, you just want visualized for yourself almost. Like educationally, kids in schools being able to actually just create a video of something that we don't have video of because it's historical or even if it's kind of theoretical or something. I just thought that was really cool. There's something amazing.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. You can almost like upload like Harry Potter, I mean, there's movies, so maybe not the best example, but like Harry Potter transcript or whatever, and then have it visualize a book for you. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What I want to know is how quickly is someone going to make the first
together?
Lag. How quickly is someone going to make the first feature-length movie with something like this? That's what I really want to know, and how quickly they're going to be able to get there. For storytelling, I think in general, it's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I know they were talking about that from the start, weren't they? When generative AI was first kind of hyping up, like it was going to end up with people being able to, generate a game on the fly, just the way you want to play it, the exact game that you want. Same with movies, like your own personalized movie. But yeah, it's looking closer and closer. All righty. So my tool for this week is more a mindset, more a model than anything else. And I know I've talked to you about this, Jacob. I'm curious if you've come across it, Gav, in your travels recently. But it's something I've been using to design a new product for ourselves. So I suppose a review of an old product. We've always run an academy. So education, coaching for podcasters, teach people how to run a successful podcast. And I've been thinking a lot recently about how we enhance that, how we take it away from just courses, just education, towards something that's actually much more action-based, something that actually helps people do stuff. And I came across a model recently, which I found really useful for this. And it was in the clickbaity, hypey titled book, called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. Have you come across this, Gav, at all?
I've read the book, yep.
You have, yeah. So the title aside, I hate the fact that it's named that, because it's actually got some really useful, cool stuff inside it. But put that aside, this model in it really stood out to me because I have found in the past, like thinking about solutions to, the problems that podcasters have, you end up just sort of listing out some of the questions you were asked and like try to figure out generally courses and things like that as well. But what it takes you through is, I suppose you could call it the what's next model. I don't think he actually had an official name in it in the book, but it was around what's next. So you think about when somebody commits to your solution or commits to your action, I guess it is, because for us, that's somebody decides they want to start a podcast. So they come along, they say, right, I know I want to start a podcast. I have made that decision. Now, what's next? What's the next problem they experience after that? So for us, commonly, the first one is gear. As rightly or wrongly, it shouldn't be. They should be thinking about other things first, but it's almost always the first person think about is microphones. And so how can we help people with that? So I don't know why, but that model just started me thinking more about actions and tools and resources rather than straight to courses. Because in the past, I would always just make a little course about what mic to buy. But instead, I thought, well, actually, the problem is like, how do they choose the mic? So maybe I create a mic chooser tool instead, or maybe I create a little checklist that guides them, or a flowchart that guides them to the right thing, something like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. Right, what's next? After they've solved that, okay, maybe now they finally get around to the topic and the audience. All right, what can I do there? So I've got a course, but actually he gives a load of examples around different types of solutions as well. And the whole mindset around as well, thinking about not just things that are realistic, but going a bit crazy. Like if you had all the money in the world and all the time in the world, what's the solution to this problem that comes next? And so if it's topic, maybe, it comes anything from, it's just a small course, right up to I turn up in their office for a day and actually work through, like think about their whole business and their product and everything and how that ties into the pod. So I went through this and I went through like 15, 20 different what nexts. And it actually gave me so many ideas around different types of products, different types of solutions, different little tools and resources that we can build around it. So I found that really, really useful. I just thought it was a great structure. Have you actually used that, Gav, in anything you've done since you read the book?
I love that as well. I think it's because they say like information is easy to get. It's the implementation part that's always hard.
Yeah.
Keeps people back. So I've always been a big fan of like creating a roadmap of some form. So we had a small membership site back in the day, and we found that the most successful part of that was essentially creating a roadmap, which was a series of courses in order of the way that people should be doing it. And I guess it's probably similar to the work that we do at the agency as well. It's like, right, client onboards, right? What's next? It's, well, we need to do X, Y, Z and carry on. So I probably, I've never thought about it from Hormozy's perspective of like, what's next? Well, maybe a tool is good here. Maybe some in-person time is good here. Maybe a blog post is fine here. But I love the concept of just like, it sounds basic, doesn't it? But like step by step, walking somebody through what they need in what moment. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. It is. It seems really simple, but there was something about it. And I've told so many people about it since then as well. And sometimes they look at me a bit like, well, it sounds a bit obvious, doesn't it? And I'm like, well, have you done it? And it just, there is something about that sequence and thinking about it that way and putting it in there. It doesn't just have to be teaching them something. So yeah, I love it. It's cool.
What I got from it is that it's a mindset switch, and that's why it seems so silly and simple. It's particularly from the perspective of what products you should make, what tools you should make, what lead magnets you should make, rather than I think what people default to is they try and just build something, anything, rather than first thinking about actually what is the most powerful sell and then building that. They usually do it the other way around. They build it and then they figure out how to sell it. But if you figure out what it is and how to sell it first before you even make it, I think you're putting yourself in a much better position.
Right, Gavin, you said you had 3 tools for us. Go for it. Give us another one.
Yeah, so the next one I've got is less of a actual tool and more of a philosophy or style or approach that we've taken.
Nice. Yep.
So go back maybe 6 months ago, my thought process when it came to content was like, right, well, you come up with an idea, you come up with a script, and then you film that piece of content. And typically that, for us, it's really always video that I'm speaking about, more so than blogs and things. And we would do that. And what we found was we were ended up spending like the majority. So the way that we work, a bit of context, is we do one office day a week. And so we would tend to film videos on that one office day. But what we found is we were spending like a serious amount of time, like half a day filming content. And we would maybe have three or four videos to show for it at the end of the day. And I was like, there has to be a better way of doing this. And so I was, as you do, scrolling Instagram, TikTok, seeing what other people are doing. And I came across this, like, again, it's really basic when you think about it, but it's completely changed the game for us. I came across this idea of just like mini vlog style. So rather than coming up with an idea, scripting it, filming it, editing it, was actually, why don't we just film more of the day-to-day in the office? So whilst people are working, if somebody's training somebody in the corner, like, right, let's just take a camera up to them with a microphone and say, right, what are you doing? And they'll go, well, we're training XYZ in this, or, an idea's just come to my head. Let me show you what this idea is on the whiteboard, or, Dave's taking a call. It's like, film Dave taking the call, and then Dave can tell people what he spoke about on that call. And we thought about, so we started doing this, right? And we started posting, these videos ended up being like 15, 20 seconds, and we still do this. Unscripted, take no time at all to film, super fast to edit. And because they're super fast to edit, we can throw in, nice little animations and stuff to try and get people to pay attention. It's non-disruptive in the working day because people aren't having to like switch to video creation mode, and the engagement that we get on them is so much better. So it's been a massive shift for us where we've now got this system where there's less effort and less thinking, but the engagement on the other side is far, far better. So this sort of like vlog, I call it like micro vlog style content. It's almost taking like a TikTok approach to content. And this is obviously short form, so this wouldn't work for like big YouTube videos, but for posting on social and using in ads, that type of thing, it's working really, really well for us. And it's been a massive mindset shift for me, and seems to be working really well.
That's really cool. What have you got a thought on why they're engaging more?
I mean, if I look at my platform, like if I go on social and watch videos, I'm watching the same. So I think you've got this, there's the element of, well, it's a 20-second video, so I can just watch it. If you try and get somebody with an interesting hook as well at the start, it catches attention. Yeah. But what we've also tried to do is try and steer slightly away from the like just random stupidness of TikTok videos and try and tailor them to more like authority building. So for example, if it's me on a whiteboard, I'll be sharing a concept or an idea or a marketing tip, or so it's all, or it might be a testimonial, like, I've just spoken to XYZ client and they've gotten this result. So it's like we're still trying to show authority, testimonials, but we're just doing it in this sort of like TikTok-y style. And I think, TikTok is the way that people consume video these days. So we have to adapt to make content like that, as opposed to our kind of traditional model would have been like 3-minute videos for everything. So I think we're just sort of moving with that's just like how people consume these days.
Yeah, I love that. I love that mindset of just, it's behind the scenes content that people tend to love. It's just kind of making content out of your day-to-day work that I find a lot of people, when we've tried to get folk, talking about just their day-to-day lives and on podcasts, and they're like, is that not a bit boring? You're like, no, that's exactly what your audience wants to hear about. Like how you live what you do, like how you do what you do, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's really cool. All right. Have you got your final one, Gav? And then we'll jump into the work that you do as well.
Yeah, final one. So this is all kind of based on the same like content shift that we've had. So Asana for organizing all of that, the vlog style. So that sort of takes into consideration the creation of the content. But I've been using Agora Pulse a lot recently for the actual distribution of those pieces of content. So I can, it's really cool. I can basically, I know that there's lots of schedulers that do this, but Agora Pulse is really nice because you can take your video, upload it, add your thumbnail, tick a box on which platform you want it to go out, and you can edit the caption for each of those really easily, or have it all the same. And you've got features to do things like add a first comment on Instagram. But the reason, so that's really cool, the scheduling feature. But it's also great because once you're plugged into all of your different channels, you can see all of the comments that come in. And from my perspective, it's great because you can see all the comments from your ads as well. And when you've got like hundreds of ads running at any one time, it's really hard to see all the, keep up to track with all the commentary. So Agora Pulse lets you basically see a feed of ad comments and respond to them. Also DMs, everything essentially. So it's a great one place that I just on my daily to-do list, go onto Agora Pulse, check all the commentary on all the ads, all the posts and DMs, that sort of thing. And I get it done in 5 minutes. So yeah, it's great.
That's your inbox for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Have you used that at all, Jacob?
Do you know, it's one of the only that I haven't. I don't know why. Why? What about Agora Pulse do you like versus some of the your buffers and your Hootsuites, that kind of thing? So what differentiates it for you?
Well, I have to be honest, and I know the guys at Agora Pulse, so I've got a free lifetime subscription to
That'll
it.
do it.
So that's definitely one of the main reasons I like it.
One factor.
Yeah. But when I first started using it, I don't think there was any platform, could be wrong, that sort of tied into the ads comments feed as well as they did. And for me, that was like the icing on the cake. So yeah, the free subscription definitely helps, but that part of it also for me is great.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. There's a few people we know who use it pretty religiously, are actually evangelists for it. You know Ian Anderson Gray as well.
Yep.
Gav, don't you? He used to be an evangelist for them, did a lot of work for them because it was a great tool. So yeah, and there's others too. So yeah, I would trust it. All right. Shall we move on to creators then? So, Gav, you're our creator of the week, obviously, coming on. Oh. So we'll dig into a bit of what you do. So I never introduced you too deeply at the start because I was going to do it now. But you're the founder, is that right, of Yatter?
That's correct.
Is it co-founder? Did you do it with somebody else?
No, it's just me.
Just yourself. You're the founder of Yatter, a PPC agency. Your goal to help everyone get more conversions, more traffic, all that kind of stuff. How do you describe it to the world yourself?
We basically describe it as we're a paid advertising agency that has a sole focus on driving business growth for clients. So one of the things that we are really keen to try and do is not just report to clients and say, you've generated X number of leads this month. It's to say, you've generated X number of leads and that's resulted in Y revenue. So that's obviously a lot easier when it comes to e-commerce brands because it's black and white, but lead generation, there tends to be a lot more deeper analysis that has to be done. But we, again, this was more of a project that we started last year to really try and change, move from being an advertising agency almost to trying to be more like business growth consultancy almost that does that via paid advertising. I can there's two things I think is going to happen to agencies over the next few years. One, agencies will have to move to that model because essentially AI is coming for us, and with machine learning on the likes of Meta, it means that the media buying element of what we do is becoming smaller and smaller, and so we need to get better at the business side and the creative side. But Sora may change all of that, as Jacob alluded to earlier. So yeah, that's really our focus is driving business growth through advertising.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. So you think there'll be much less specialism in terms of marketing agencies?
Seeing it already. It's really. From Google's got PMax, Facebook's got Advantage Plus. It's like, before, if we were to build a campaign even 2 years ago, the structure of that campaign is very different to what the structure of a campaign looks like now. And generally speaking, there's less work involved from a campaign build perspective. All of the work now comes in the strategy, the ability to test creative copy, because we don't, if we were running ads for, let's say, Agorapulse 2 years ago, we'd be targeting one group might be social media managers, another group might be people that are interested in Buffer, and you'd split it up into like loads of different audiences. Now Facebook does that all for you, so the creative part is a lot more important.
Wow. Okay. I've got a bunch of questions to ask you about your creating these days. You mentioned about video a minute ago, but I'm pretty sure Jacob's probably got some questions about this. So I'm going to bring him in just now, because Jacob's background's in agencies as well. So yeah, you anything to ask around that first, Jacob?
Yeah. How did you get started? How did you make your first buck?
Good question. So I had a business where I worked with personal trainers to put such a bad idea. Put them into corporate environments to run fitness sessions. And that business was a total failure, made absolutely no money. But what I got from that business was relationships with personal trainers. And I realized that they were pretty bad at marketing. And so I sort of said to myself, I could go into the social media marketing world and try make a name for myself in there. And that's what I sort of did. And then one of those clients asked me whether I could run some ads for them. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do it, but we can try it. And we did that. And it actually worked really well, probably more luck than anything. But what that showed me was you can, with organic social, it's very hard to prove a return. With paid advertising, it's you're either making money or you're not. It's black and white. And I thought to myself, well, if I make a client money, then why would they ever leave? And so I sort of took it upon myself to go down the route of trying to my goal was become the best Facebook advertiser in the UK. That was always my goal. And so the business took various forms of, like, I was a freelancer, I had a course, we had some clients, and then in 2000, and the business sort of did okay. And then in 2021, we decided, right, let's scrap the courses, let's scrap the membership site, and let's focus on building a team, building an agency. So we went through the branding process, came up with the brand Yatter, and so we've doubled in size each year since 2021. So yeah, it was really, really like small start of just freelancing, working with some small clients, one-on-one in Edinburgh, and then slowly but surely have sort of grown and working with better clients and building a great team.
Mm-hmm. It's been really cool to see that journey, actually, watch you go through that over the last 5+ years, more than that, isn't it? Like a decade now.
Yeah, it's scary.
I remember you. So get back to my content questions, because I remember you, when we first met, you were you were deep in creating, weren't you? You were a vlogger. You did so much video. How often were you publishing in those days?
I went through. I sort of was like, right, I need to do video, and so I went through a period where I made a video every day for 100 days, and then from there I basically did one every week. But then I've like since then I did like started podcasting and blogging. So like at the height of my creating, because I've sort of taken a bit of a backseat, is I was doing like probably a blog, a video, and a podcast every week or something. It was ridiculous. Yeah. That was like absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. How much? Yeah. I was basically a full-time creator and trying to run a business at the same time. And I say it's ridiculous, but I mean that's what got me, like that has had a massive impact on my career. So I don't think I could do it now with a child and a wife.
No. I'm sure you could if you put your mind to it, but no, it's much, much harder. What did you learn from those days of putting out your 100-day series? What did you learn about consistency that people could use?
I think probably a bit of context on the 100 days was, I was like, I need to do video, but I'm really nervous about it. Like the idea of getting on front of camera and creating something like terrified me. So I was like, the only way I'm going to do this is if I just jump in at the deep end and have zero care about like the quality of those videos. So there's no editing, nothing. It was purely just like record myself and upload it. And I think, when you get to like day 43, you're no longer bothered about what people are thinking about you, because you're just, it's just part of what you do now. And I think what those 100 days taught me was one, that like nobody really cares. Like once you've done like 2 or 3 videos, nobody really cares. And it also taught me just, you start seeing what's working and what's not. So like, back then I was getting like maybe 20 views on a bad video and maybe like 300 on a good. So you sort of go, right, why did that get 20? Why did that one get 300? And then you start getting a bit better, and then your bad videos might be 300 and your good's 1,000. And you sort of learn what's working and what's not working. There was one day I made a video in that 100 days where I literally, the only time in my life that I've had no voice, like voice completely gone. And so I just made a video telling people that I had no voice. And that I think was one of the best performers, weirdly. But you start to just get into a bit of a flow. And it was after that 100 days I was like, you know what, I actually really enjoy this video thing. So what would happen if I started to take it a bit more seriously and actually did edit it and try and think of a story and try and think of a script? And then that's when I went into the weekly content, where I did that.
And I got deeper at that point, I guess. Yeah, that's really cool. I love that mindset. Yeah, just the fast iteration. There's nothing better than creating stuff so frequently that you can just see quickly like what's working, what's not. You can change it quickly as well, and just that iteration loop just helps you improve so quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like if you post a video once a week, you've got 50 videos at the end of the year. If you post a video every day, you've got 365. So you're going to learn a lot more in that 365, even if the videos aren't great.
So you said that you've taken a bit of a back seat on it just now. It sounds like you're still doing content though with Yatter. So your team's creating, I'm sure you're having input on that.
I think I probably, I say I've taken a back seat. It's probably because I was way too intense with the content back in the day. I think the approach to content has changed. So like I mentioned earlier, like we go for this more vlog style now. And before the end of last year, we actually sort of experimented posting one of those videos every day, 5 days a week. And now we do like 3 videos a week. And there's not been much of a difference. So again, this is just an example of like testing, like just test what works for your business and your audience. So I go, well, 3 videos a week versus 5, I'm going to do 3 if there's not much difference because it's less work. So I think the back seat is probably more like because I'm getting the team involved. I'm not on camera all the time anymore. Whereas before, there was a period in time where I hired a videographer purely to film me. So content's still a massive part. And like I'm involved in all those videos, and I've got the final say on whether the videos go live, that sort of thing. But I'm trying consciously to, because I don't want the business just to be about me, I'm trying consciously to, get the team involved in all the content that we make as well.
Yeah, and amplify your skills, all that stuff that you've learned, all that experience that you've got. You put that into 5 or 10 more people, then suddenly you've got a really good machine there to run the business, for sure.
Totally. And the guys are smarter than me as well. So I want to share their knowledge rather than mine.
Yes. Yeah, it's the best approach, isn't it? If you were starting a new one, so if you're going to create something new just now, you got any gaps or that you see out there in terms of content that you think you could fill, or anything that's actually just scratching an itch with you just now?
Yeah, I've actually had this conversation with a number of people. Like, I feel ready. I'm ready to get stuck into something again. I think there was a period sort of when we went 2021 where we were like, right, creating the Yatter brand. There was a period where I was like, right, I need to be laser focused on building this business. And so that's when I sort of consciously said, right, let's tone down the content so you can build this business. Now the business is in a great place. It's like, right, I'm ready. I'm ready to share again. And I've got a lot more experience now of, building a team and all these different types of things. So I think I probably want to speak more about like business and business lessons rather than marketing. That's probably the itch that I have right now. Like the things that I've tried and have worked and things I've tried and haven't worked. So that's definitely on the horizon. That's why I have this mic, but I've not done anything with it yet. So I think, and to answer your question, I think that'll be in the form of a podcast. So I love the idea of sitting down, having a conversation with people, and sharing that with the world. So
great
coming
stuff.
soon.
Looking forward to it then. See your new podcast coming out soon.
Yeah.
Good. Jacob, what have you got for Gav? You got a couple of questions?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask about the transition from being a solo creator to having a team, because I think that is something that most creators have as quite a big milestone, quite a big goal. I think everyone wants to get to the point where they have the option to actually step back and say, you guys keep this going, I'm going to have a think about what I'm going to work on next. But it's easy to see that as all kind of sunshines and rainbows. But what did you find difficult? What did you, or if anything, maybe it was easy, but was there anything difficult about that transition?
I think we've had challenge. I think in the whole, I would say I've found it relatively easy because the types of people that we have brought onto the team have all, in the early days, will have seen my video content, so they knew that I make videos. And then as the team starts to build, they see the content that Yatter creates. And we'll quite openly ask people, like in the interview stages, like, are you comfortable being on video? I mean, they have to be, because they're going to be speaking to clients on video calls. So I would say it's been relatively easy. I'd say some of the hard parts for me have been maybe when people are a little bit uncomfortable being on video and having to, cater to that essentially, and not push certain people to do something that they don't want to do. But again, I think I keep coming back to this vlog style content 'cause it's been such a game changer for us. Like now I'm not asking the team to sit down and script a video and get involved in the video process. It's more just like, what do you think about this? And they'll answer it on camera, and they're all comfortable and they know that that's what we do and that's part of the office day. So people are a lot more comfortable because they don't always feel like they're on video when they are. And we've done content where we call it like the podcast corner, and we've got these mics set up and we will just film a conversation. So we'll get people to have a conversation about something and we'll film it. And within a couple of minutes, people don't actually realize that they forget that they're on camera. There's no act. They just have a conversation. And then the editor can go and clip that into little clips. So I think because it's been sort of built into the culture of Yatter from like day one, it's been quite an easy journey. I think that's key, is making sure that people understand, like, this is the culture that we have here. We are, we make video.
Good stuff. So who have you got, Gavin? Who's your creator of the week?
My creator of the week is a guy called Jake Hughes. So his Instagram handle is Jake Hughes, and it's got 3 S's at the end. So Jake Hugh SSS. And so this guy, I actually don't know fully what his background is, but I came across him recently just in my For You feed. And basically what he does is he'll be in his car and there'll be a plumber in front of him, and he'll phone the plumber with the number on the van, and he'll be like, "Hi mate, yeah, I've just been on your website," and he'll try and pitch that person like a new website, for example, and you get that conversation. And it's just really cool. It's like, it's not these sort of cringy cold call type videos. It's like a legit guy in the UK phoning a legit plumber to see if he's interested in a website. And sometimes the conversations are really just really cool to listen to. He's not trying to teach you how to cold call. He's just doing it. So I like him. and his like editing style and stuff is really cool. So I recommend checking him out.
Nice. So that's YouTube primarily.
That's Instagram. Yeah, he might be on YouTube and all the other platforms, but Instagram is where I came across.
So it's style quite short spaced.
Short form, exactly. Yeah, and also, I mean, cool. I'll add in a bonus creator here as well. I didn't put him on my list because it's not very businessy, but Jack Joseph has to be. He's the one creator right now where I will actively go on his Instagram to see if he's published any videos because I find him so funny. Like his sense of humor is just 100% my sense of humor. So those are my two. Jake and Jack.
And what's his kind of content? What's his style?
He'll do things like taking the mick out of like UK gender reveals, and
right.
I think it's really hard to explain unless you just go check him out, and really? you'll watch his video and you'll be like, "This is not for me whatsoever, not funny at all," or you'll find it hilarious.
Yeah.
Kind of like his videos are uncomfortable to watch sometimes because of like how he acts.
Ricky Gervais style, potentially. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Jake Hughes, then, are you saying you kind of, so the learning from him, it's around the kind of authenticity there. He actually just does the thing. He's not trying to teach you.
I think so. Again, it probably comes back to this sort of like vloggy style. It's like, there's no...
Just follow along.
There's no like, here's how to cold call a plumber and sell him a website. It's literally just like, watch me cold call this plumber and see what happens. And I'm kind of like, I'm intrigued. I'm like, phoning somebody's phone number because you've seen the number in a van, that's really interesting to me. Like, let's see how this goes. Yeah, so it's stuff like that. I mean, he's got other like really well edited sort of vloggy, short form vloggy type content as well. But it's those ones that hooked me into him.
There's something really interesting about a video where you think, presuming they haven't set it all up, if it is real, like they don't know how it's going to go either. Yeah. You know, it's starting a video and they're in the same situation as you. It's like, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. That's quite a cool premise. I like that.
I'm going to throw in another bonus one. Sorry.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Coming with all, we want as many. I'm breaking the rules here, and this one's probably not very good because I can't remember the guy's name. But there's a guy on Instagram that pops up in my reels every so often, and he's got glasses, and he basically breaks down viral videos. So he'll like. And in his videos, he's doing the viral techniques to get you to watch. And I literally saw a video just before I came on. I wish I saved his name, but he said he'd got over 500,000 followers in the last 16 months, basically doing this. If I can remember his name, I'll send it over, and you can maybe put it in the show notes or whatever. But
send it along. Yeah,
he's a really interesting guy as well to follow, just from a like learning. Yeah. He basically takes all the videos that he sees and then breaks them down to be like, this went viral because, which is cool.
Yeah. So directly teaching the techniques. Nice. Good stuff. All right. Thank you, Gavin. Thanks for coming on. It's been really interesting.
Yeah,
some good tools there, a couple of good creators, and learned a ton from your experience as well. So, I mean, people can find you for sure over at weareyatter.com. That's the main place, isn't it? That's where your agency is. But is there anywhere else that you're publishing? Anything else you want to bring up to people before we go?
I'm probably most active these days on LinkedIn. So if you just type in Gavin Bell or Mr. Gavin Bell on LinkedIn, you should see me there. I mean, I'm on all the channels at Mr. Gavin Bell, but LinkedIn's where I spend most of my time.
All the places. Bonus question, and since you mentioned that, because I'm doing a fair bit on LinkedIn, although I've kind of slowed down in the last month, I'll be honest. What's working for you on LinkedIn just now? The video content that we're producing, that seems to be doing really, really well on LinkedIn, and I back it up with the occasional written post where I try and take something that's happened in life and then create a lesson, like form a lesson from it. So the one that I haven't written, but my next one that I'm going to write is, I went out for lunch and the waitress
tried to upsell me 4 times. And I was like, that's a great business lesson. Like, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my next post.
You are good at that. I've noticed that. There's I've seen a few posts from you in the last 6 months or so that have gone very widely shared because you've found something quite personal, but which actually has some quite widely applicable lessons, and you're really good at putting them together into a nice story which actually has some real kind of action at the end. Like, I see a lot of people putting those stories out there and thinking that just pure transparency or just like sharing something kind of awkward or bad or something will be enough, but actually you take it and you actually turn it into something real, really useful. So yeah, you do that.
I think I'd probably try, like, it helps me. It's like, right, that taking the time to write, I'm like, it's a really interesting thing that person did. What can I learn from that? And just like the process of writing that sort of formalizes the lesson, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed. Great stuff. All right. Thanks again, Gavin. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. Thanks to you too, Jacob, for being a co-host as always. Thank you, listener out there, for listening. As always, go and check us out at thepodcasthost.com if you want to run your own podcast, and alitu.com if you want to check out our tool for running that podcast. That's call recording, audio cleanup, editing, and publishing. We'll see you on the next episode.